All right, so we are now recording. So welcome everyone to our Scan and Cut Canvas 101 class. We're going to be going over all of ScanNCut Canvas, and you guys are welcome to ask questions as they pop into your head or wait till the end, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you have any questions that are unrelated to the ScanNCut or the Canvas, you are welcome to ask them, but I ask that you wait until the end of the class. I'll stop recording and then I can take questions on whatever. All right, so I am going to do a share screen. There we go, just takes a moment. There we go, so everyone should see ScanNCut Canvas in the background. So the other thing too is your Zoom, mine pops up in a weird box. You may have to move around the little talking boxes if you need to, if you're on a minimized screen. All right, so when you first log into Canvas, this is what you see. And these are all projects. Let's see if I can make my little floaty box here smaller. So these are all free, and I think that if you're new to ScanNCut, these are a great thing to play with because, well, they're free. There's a lot of really cute ones, as you can see, and they're very easy to use. So they give you what's called a recipe. So let's say we want to do this piano here with the kitty cats. So when you click on it, it uploads, it does this little pop-up. It shows you a picture of the project. There's a whole video you can watch from YouTube right here on Canvas on how to make this. You can get the recipe, which is the instructions, and you can also download all parts. You can either open this up with this little box here on your bottom left into Canvas, or you can download all parts right onto your computer. So if I wanted to, let's say, open this up onto Canvas, I can click this little import parts box. And apparently it's going to save it too into my projects. And there we go. So now it's there. And I could come in here, and usually these projects are grouped, but you could come in here and ungroup it and move around individual objects, like maybe we don't want this cat here, and so on. So you can actually do some small alterations. I cannot come in here and do heavy alterations like remove the cat that's on the piano, but I could, move these music notes. Ooh, if I could click on it. Apparently I'm not very good at moving these music notes. There we go. The treble clef gave me no trouble moving it. So we can move around things and alter some of these designs. Now, because these are free projects with that video, you could easily cut it out and practice with things like vinyl or paper or whatever you'd like to make this. This is made for vinyl because that's what it shows in the project, but you could do it with paper and just use the piano here or other materials as well. I would not necessarily suggest fabric for this, but it's good to play with because they're all free patterns. And if I want to get back to my free patterns area, I can just click back on the top left on the Canvas workspace and just hit leave page. Oh, and there's our yelling at me that I haven't updated my downloaded version. I will do that later. So there is a ton of these. If you have attended classes previous at Schiller's, way at the bottom, we actually have quite a few classes on here that we've run in the past. Everything from cute little Valentine's Day cards. I think that this is the year that I make the little rhinestone bat, super cute. And some of these also show off the kits. So for an example, this rhinestone bat, you need the rhinestone kit to do this, and it's a great first project to play with. There's another ones, let's scroll up here. There's another rhinestone. Trying to see if there's paper cards, cutouts. They do a lot with the different kits. I know that there's, oh, here's a calligraphy one. So if you got the new calligraphy kit that came out last year. So if you are new to a kit and you want something to play with or do, these are all built in. They're all free. And the same thing, you can take some of these projects, like let's say these little roses, and they're really cute. You can download them and use them in fabric or something else. So feel free to use these designs. So that is all of our projects with Canvas. And again, you scroll way down, there's a ton of them. And every time they add in new ones, they don't get rid of the old ones, they just add more and more in. I find that every month or so, sometimes even a little bit less, they add new projects, so check back often. Under the My Projects tab here, I'm going to go over these top tabs. The My Projects tab, you can see that my husband uses my Canvas way more often than I do. He's actually really, really good at Canvas. For example, this is one that he did on a mask where it had the, this is a Star Wars logo, and it says, this is the way on the other one. It's from the Mandalorian on Disney+. But anything that you've worked on that you save into your Canvas will be here. So you can go back and, you know, say, all right, you know, here's some other projects that we've done, you know, a little rhinestone one. You know, these are all saved into here, and you can access them whenever you'd like. And to open them up, you can either download them right onto your computer with this button, or hit this and it'll open it up into the canvas just like we did with the previous project. Our pattern collections, these are all of the ones to kind of, you know, let you drool at. There's some really nice projects. Oh, cool, there's even a roll feeder. These are new. Paper piercing collections. These are all pre-done designs that you can purchase. If you remember seeing those little cards that we had at the store that were hanging in the ScanNCut wall, they look like little, you know, business cards or credit cards that had Mickey Mouse and things like that on them. That's what these are. So these are ones that you can purchase from Schiller's. You can order it right from us, and you get the card in. And when you go into one, I'm going to click on this one first because it's still locked. I can click show all, and it's going to show me these designs. So these are fonts for the calligraphy sets. You have to have the calligraphy design set, or calligraphy kit, I mean, to be able to use these. And if it's unlocked, I can click right on it, and I can actually download these designs. Now with the downloaded version of ScanNCut, I can download this as a batch, and it actually will add it to my downloaded version of the ScanNCut. This is new, and it's really nice because beforehand you used to, oops, clicked out. You used to have to click on this, then download the individual design, open it up into Canvas. Now you can just download the whole thing. I have a few that I purchased, like this calligraphy set, and you can preview. So if you know, I purchased 1 and 2, the lace patterns, because I was going to use it for our wedding. I did actually use one of them. I don't remember where it was, maybe in here. But if you're thinking about purchasing one of these, but you're not sure, let's say number 5. Actually, let's do number 4 because there's sewing ones in that one. This one's really cute. Oop. See, I clicked on it instead of clicking the show all, so it lets me know that I can't activate it without purchasing it. So I'm going to click show all. And I can take a look in this other tab over here of what this is actually going to look like. And see, there's some lace. There's a lace unicorn, violin, some sewing stuff, a little watering can. It's very cute. And I like the lace ones as a purchasable pattern because these are really hard to design on your own. Let's go to this tab. Now also on here is Disney. Disney has its own little section, and there are some new Disney patterns that have come out recently. Like there's actually a vinyl auto blade kit. Let's take a look at that one. And these are made for vinyl. So there's different designs too that are made for different things. These are very cute. I haven't actually looked at these yet. Oh, that would be crazy. You should paint your whole wall with those little Mickey Mouses. But yeah, these are made for vinyl, because it does say vinyl auto blade. And sometimes I keep clicking back on that screen. Sometimes they will specify of what these are for. Like this one says paper craft. So what that means, if I hit show all, there's actually some designs in there for paper. So like pop-up cards, bookmarks, things like that. And little envelopes, and they're all Disney themed. They're all princess. Now, none of these, I have not purchased any of the Disney specific ones. So as you can see, they all have the little lock thing. So I cannot activate any of these. But there's a Frozen 2 one. But you can always take a look at them, and that way when you figure out which one you want, see this number, the CADSNP10. That's what you call us in and say, hey, do you guys have this in stock? And if not, can you order it for me? And that's the part number that you're going to need to order it with. So here's the Disney one for the vinyl. Olaf is cute. These are cool. So anyway, so that's kind of the different projects and patterns that you can purchase on here. Now, before we get into the editing, I want to go over how you unlock these when you purchase them and how you unlock kits. Now, if you notice, I have all these little fancy doodads up here next to the Canvas workspace. These are all a kit that I have purchased and unlocked in the past. So for example, the rhinestone kit, and if you hover over it, it says what it is. The printable sticker kit. This is the stamp kit, the embossing kit, and the enhanced image tracing. Now I'm gonna let you guys know real quick, if you purchase, I'm gonna give the embossing kit as an example. I had purchased the embossing kit and then lost the embossing pen holder. You cannot purchase those parts separately. You have to repurchase the entire kit. So make sure that you keep track of your stuff. Don't be like me, don't lose it, because that'll come into a problem. Rhinestone, sticker, stamp, those are very easy to replace. And the image tracing was one that came with the WX machine. It was just a card that made you be able to trace images a little easier, which we will go over in a moment. All right, so if you have purchased new cards and things like that, I'm gonna click right on my account name. And in here is where you have your user information settings. So that's, you know, your login, your passwords, emails. I'm not gonna click on that, but that's where your personal information is. Machine registration, this is important. If you guys have not registered your machine yet, you have to. This is the only way you can transfer things wirelessly. I mean, you don't have to, but you do need to register your machine in here to be able to get things from the Canvas wirelessly right to your ScanNCut. You can also register more than one machine. So if you are running a small shop out of your house or just happen to be a ScanNCut hoarder, we don't judge. You can always register more than one machine. You can also use this menu on the left here instead of hitting back. Your pattern collection, this is where you will activate a pattern. So certain things that look like kits that are actually a pattern, the calligraphy starter kit is actually a pattern. So when you open up your calligraphy starter kit, you're gonna get a little fancy card, which of course I had one upstairs. I don't think I have one down here. I would show you if I remembered. Wait, do I have it? Oh, I do actually have one. So I'll show you that in a moment of what they look like. So when we're done and I stop screen sharing, I'm gonna show you an example of some cards and how they unlock. But you're going to take an activation code, put it in here, and hit activate. And if you scroll down, this is where all your purchase patterns are. So I've only bought 4. I've got the calligraphy set, a couple of the tattered lace, and the extra 125 designs that comes with that image tracing. So, you know, if you purchase any, you can look right here and click on them. All of my serial numbers are right here. So they're all right there for you. Your premium function activation. This is where you're going to activate those kits. Rhinestone kit, embossing kit, the paper piercing kit, all of those are activated here. And then it gives you a list here. So for example, I have not gotten foiling set yet. That's something that I wish they came out with before I got married, because I would have done some really cool invitations. Roll feeder. Many of you do not know that you actually need to activate your roll feeder. So if you still have that sitting in a box somewhere, open it up, take out the card that's in that box and activate it before you forget. Otherwise, it will not activate on your downloaded version of your Canvas. It just won't be there. These are some new things. The paper piercing set came out last year. Oh, I have to activate my vinyl auto blade. Well, that's probably why it wasn't working. Huh. All right, I'll have to find information about that because I bought it and there's no activation code on it. These are new. So the Print-A-Cut, ScanNCut Link, and Vinyl Auto Blade. Print-A-Cut I have not played with, so I do not have much information on there. It is something that is specifically for the DX. If you notice, it says ScanNCut DX next to it. And then it says Canvas Workspace for PC. That means that you have to download your Canvas Workspace and you have to have a ScanNCut DX to work with this kit. It only pops up on your downloaded version. Where if you scroll up, these guys don't have those specifications. Now, the ScanNCut Link is cool. This one is something that it's not in yet, neither is the Print-A-Cut. The Vinyl Auto Blades are in as a singular blade, but I didn't realize you had to activate them, so that might be why I was having problems, so I'll have to research that for you guys. The ScanNCut Link is really cool. That is actually a way to connect your Illustrator, if you have Adobe Illustrator, to your ScanNCut. So Adobe Illustrator is a paid program you can do through the Adobe Cloud. It is a very traditional version of graphic design where you create vector files. So it's like Craft and Cut if you've had that program from Floriani, except really, really advanced. Illustrator is the graphics program that many people use to create professional logos and do very professional work. So ScanNCut Link allows that Illustrator to connect wirelessly to your ScanNCut. I do not have it yet, so I haven't played with it. And that is pretty much all the information I received from Brother, is that that's what it does. I have no idea how. So in the future, we will be doing other ScanNCut lessons and things like that. So we'll probably bring that up in the future. Or if you are interested and want to contact me on more information, I can let you know. And the vinyl autoblade, I will be learning and figuring out by the time we have our vinyl class. So I apologize about that. I've got some time though, so we'll figure it out. But anyway, there's some new doodads that have come out for your ScanNCut. Things that, if you don't have any kits, I'm just going to quickly recommend that you at least get the rhinestone kit. That is my favorite. And it's really one of the few kits on here that are fabric related. Rhinestones are a really nice thing to add to embroidery and jackets. So, you know, or anything really that holds still needs some rhinestones, in my opinion. So I highly recommend that one. Okay, some of the other buttons on your top here that besides your account, you can still go into my projects right next door to your username and of course log out. There's also a small help button if you need any help with anything, which will bring you to their help page for Brother. So we're going to go back to our Canvas workspace now. Again, it's going to yell at me. If you have downloaded this, you can actually click the Don't Ask Me Again, and then it won't pop up. I haven't downloaded it yet, which is why I'm allowing it to harass me. Okay, so we're going to go right into New. We're going to create a new project. It's just going to take a moment to load. There it is. All right, so this is our Canvas background screen. On here, we can change a few things if we wanted to. Under our project button, if we wanted to make it a 12 by 20 format, we could do that. There's also portrait, landscape, and postcard sizes. Typically, I work within the 12 by 12 because that's the main mat I use. But if you know you're going to be using a larger mat, the 12 by 24, you can certainly design in that size as well. Some of the other buttons up here, we have a Create New Project, which is what we just pretty much hit, that new button. This is to overwrite a project. So if you opened up a project you already had and you'd like to overwrite your changes, you can do that. Or you can save as a new project. And this is how you save your projects to your project part of your Canvas workspace. There's also count shapes, which is really cool if you're cutting out a bunch of lots of little, I don't know, vinyl or fabric pieces. You can actually click the count shapes and find out how many items it is going to be cutting out on your mat. And then, of course, we have our image tracing and our SVG, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. So that is our project page. We're going to leave it at the 12 by 12. Edit. So in here, these are edit screens related to shapes. So let's bring a shape in and we can start going over some of these. So I'm going to hold off going through the rest of these tabs until we actually go over our pattern on the left-hand side. And our downloaded version is similar to this. It pops up with just a slightly different layout. And actually, what I'll do while I'm doing this is I can quickly download this and update mine, since I was terrible and did not do that. Actually, you know what? While we're doing this, let's go through how to download this in case you have not. So you do need to click on what type of ScanNCut you have. As you can see, there's quite a few. This includes the English models as well as the American models. And we're just going to go through. Now, it's very important if you do have a DX that you click the DX version, because otherwise it will not give you the option for the roll feed bundle and things like that. Otherwise, most of them do not differ that much. All right, so that's going to download while we go back to our new project. Okay, so underneath our pattern button here, again, you can open up any of your projects. They're right here. So they give you a lot of different ways you can get into the projects file. There's basic, which is the same exact basic shapes that are built into your ScanNCut. So I'm just gonna grab one of those and then I'm gonna throw in another shape. So we have a couple. I'll hit back. There's also logo. Logo are those words that are connected. So if I load one of these in here, you'll notice that these are all welded together. It's not like regular fonts that are sitting with spaces. So these are great to be used with paper. or as a stencil. I bring up paper because when you make a card, maybe you want to have a cute cutout that says, you know, happy something, or, you know, joy, or whatever you'd like to have on there. But if it's not all welded together, then it's going to cut out separately and you're stuck there gluing every single little letter down that's cut out of the paper. This is one little piece. It's much easier to work with. And all of these are like this. All of the logos, as you can see. So there's quite a few of them. As you can tell, there is a lot. So most likely, whatever card you're making will probably have something related to that in writing. Your border. Oh, I skipped border, didn't I? We're gonna go back to border. So border is all these little fancy borders, but if you scroll way down, oh, it's not giving me the option here. Well, never mind then, scratch that. Sometimes there's a dotted line option, but that might be somewhere else on this. So in your scan and cut, if you're in your borders function, and no matter which machine, if you scroll the way down, there's actually a dotted line that you can add to a card or something like that. There's also, we went over logo, text. These are your regular old texts that are built into your scan and cut, so you can click on it. And if you double click, you can actually manually type in whatever you'd like. And there you go. We're gonna hit back. Rhinestone. So these other kits here, if you have any of the premium kits, they will add them onto this on the online version. So these are all rhinestones. These are made to be done with rhinestones. So the difference between a regular cut and a rhinestone. I'm gonna zoom in and show you guys. See all these little dots? These cut out of a piece of velvet, and then you take your rhinestones, dump them on there, and brush it on, and all those rhinestones somehow magically land face up. It's pretty cool if you've never done it, but all these rhinestones lay on here, right in those little cuts that it cuts out. You take your transfer sheet, it picks up the rhinestones, you put it on whatever you'd like to iron it onto, iron it, and boom, you have a cute little rhinestone heart. It's very easy, and you can also, of course, create your own. But there's a bunch of built-in rhinestones as well. There's also letters, so you can, you know, write in there, let's say we want to write the word cat. You know, you have a lovely cat that needs some rhinestones. Our Pac-Man logo here is in the way. But I can also lay out letters with rhinestones. And I'm just going to delete these guys out of the way. Come on. My new computer, I keep hitting the right button instead of the right key on my touchpad instead of the left. So below rhinestone, I also have stamps built in, which the built-in designs for stamps are very cute. There's even a little sewing machine in here. There it is, little elephant. These are also really nice to be cut out of paper and other things. Vinyl. Line embossing, again with the embossing set, this is meant to be used with that little embossing pen. So pretty much any of those premium kits, they do add these designs in the download. The newer premium kits only put those into your downloaded version on your PC, where the older ones like the rhinestone, the stamps, things like that are here. Now some of the other premiums, if you click up on this premium tab, you have other rhinestone options and also printable stickers. So printable stickers, let's see if I can remember how to get into the kit here. There's a sticker wizard. These are pre-designed stickers that you can actually download and print. And these are pretty cool. Let's say that one, because we all need some wine. I know I do. And you can actually change this. So, you know, and I can do a little preview and see what that looks like. I can print these on Microsoft Word, well, through Word or whatever my regular printing program is that I want to use. You print it on pretty much a regular paper almost. It comes everything in the kit, and then you put it in this little sandwich which has a sticky back and a plastic cover, and you put it all together, and then it cuts out around these little black edges. So these are all stickers pre-made. So if you learned how to make wine during this pandemic, that is a great sticker built in you can do with the printable sticker kit. So the other thing we can do too is we can insert individual rhinestones with the rhinestone set. And I can just sit here and click around my design. which I'm not that great at, as you can see. Let me undo those. There we go. I can also do a rhinestone count. And then my favorite is this rhinestone wizard. It's not highlighted because nothing is selected. So I'm going to bring our Pac-Man guy back in here. And now he's selected. I can hit premium and hit the rhinestone wizard. I can pick what kind of fill. Let's just do an outline for right now. My stone size and even the spacing. Hit OK. And there we go. Now I have some really cool rhinestone Pac-Man. So I've used this quite a bit on designs that I found, like silhouettes of hot air balloon, things like that. And I've applied rhinestones to it, put it on a shirt, and had a really cool shirt that's very unique. And you could do the same thing with your name, or you remember our Schiller's Sewing Circle rhinestone shirts we had a while back. We also have a bag still hanging up on the store, done with rhinestones. It was done right on this program. So those are the premium kits. One other way, by the way, because there's multiple ways to do the same thing, we can also right click and also do the rhinestone wizard after we have it selected. All right, so before we go too much further, let's talk about our edit. So under edit, we have undo and redo. I'm gonna select one of these guys here. Oops, there we go. I can cut, which means it removes it from my project page. I can copy, which will make a copy of it. Paste, so after I hit copy, it will allow me to paste. And I can also duplicate. Duplicate is a little different than copy. It seems like the same thing. We'll see the difference. So duplicate moves it, copy does not, it just puts it on top of. Let me reselect. All right, so groups, if I had multiple things selected, so I can, sorry, I keep right clicking. I can left click and drag and select all 3 items right here. Go to edit and I can group them. I can also ungroup right here. I can select all, which was another way I could select all besides left clicking and dragging. I could remove everything that's on there. This is an edit text, so instead of double clicking, if I put text on there, I can also click this button and put in text. And I can also add this offset line. Let's click on that. Actually, let me click on just my name. And we're gonna hit edit and do this offset line. And we're gonna leave all this as is, but the spacing is how far away from the line. If you want it to be outward or inward, we want it to be outside of the line. We can leave the original line as is, and let's do a round. I actually really like these settings. And what this does is it adds this little, see, it's like a little outline. So if you're doing card making, this is a fantastic little thing to put around a word. So that way, again, I keep left clicking. That way I can have that little backdrop to kind of lift it up or make it have a little color contrast or something fancy. And I can even do an outline to an outline. So if I really want to layer this up and have it be really fancy, I could keep doing this. As you can tell, I can do layer upon layer. So it's not too hard to do an outline. I do use this often on here. Oop, I gotta select something. All right, I'm gonna select multiple items because I'm gonna show you the arrange. So again, under edit, we have our align keys. So I can have everything centered to each other. As you can see, this is now in a line, although those are on top of each other. I can hit edit and I can line them in different ways. I can also flip. These are if I have individual items. Let me click on just one. So let's say I'm going to be cutting my name out of vinyl. I will need to mirror it. So there we go. Now you don't need to mirror it both ways. It's just one way, but you do have the option to vertically or horizontally mirror. I can also change the order in which this is laid out. I can have something on top of each other, and have the layering be in a different order. This process overlap, I'm going to show you guys how these work. These are different ways that you can take simple shapes and put them together. This one is your weld, which I'm going to show you how that works because I feel like that one's more of the big important one. I can divide, so if I have 2 overlapping shapes, I can divide them from each other. I can remove overlapped, and I can also subtract. So if something is over it, I can just remove what is not overlapping. So let's take my name. And I'm going to, Let's divide and see if it'll allow me to have the letters separate. Yep. So that was one of the keys. That was that divide key, which is this one, which will divide something that is grouped if it does not allow you to ungroup it. And I can take these letters, and I'm just going to start dragging them so they're overlapping. I probably should have unmirrored this first because this is kind of weird with it all mirrored. Oh well, I can unmirror it later. So I'm just going to drag these and overlap. And then I'm going to select them all. I can right click or go to edit. It's the same thing. And I'm going to weld. And now I'm going to unmirror this so you guys can see how cool this is. It is all welded. So I can now take this and I can cut it out of paper. I can use it as a stencil. I could, well, for example, big deal with stencils is etched glass. Many of you have seen the etched glass classes we've done or seen etched glass online. If you weld your objects together, it's going to make your etched glass project a lot easier to use the stencil. So that is our welding. So that's those guys. These two I do not use as often, but I use the divide a lot to break something up, and I weld a lot. So that's those. I'm going to remove some of these guys. Some of the other buttons on here is view. View is fit to mat, fit to selection. You just pretty much take your design and it'll automatically, you can fit it to the mat, or you can also zoom in or zoom out. You can show the mat image or turn it off. I like the mat image personally. You can show only the cutting line or only the drawing line if you're doing either, or properties. And you can also change this between inches and millimeter. All right, let's talk about these buttons. So this is our new project, which we already clicked to be here. This is our overwrite. So again, if we wanted to save this, we just hit this to save. Image tracing. So image tracing is one of my favorite buttons. So let's do a quick search. I'm going to use this button right here. Let's say we want to do a fall leaf. So what you're going to do is look for, I'm going to spell silhouette terribly wrong here. I forgot the U. I always spell silhouette wrong. There we go. So what I usually do is I look up silhouette. This is a great, easy way to find a simple shape that I can use in a quilt or something like that, just through regular Google, click image. And a lot of these that pop up are clip arts, you know, like this pinclipart.com. A lot of these are not for purchase. So I try to use freeware if I can. But I'm going to click view image. And this is a really nice big one. I'm going to right click and save it. And we're just going to save that in there. And you can do this with any image. We had a customer who really wanted to make a sparkly cornucopia t-shirt for Thanksgiving. And you know, she couldn't find a design anywhere. It's a cornucopia. That's kind of an odd thing. She was able to Google it, find a free image, and download it, and use this image tracing tool. So we're going to click on it. And if you have enhanced tracing, it pops up automatically. Enhanced tracing is more if you're trying to do something on a picture or something a little bit more complicated. So we're just doing a simple silhouette. So I'm going to hit normal tracing. I can show you enhanced tracing in a moment. We're going to choose our file. Mine went into downloads. There it is. And there's two options. There's outline or color. We're going to leave it on outline because it's just going to sense this outside. I'm going to show you what the color version is in a moment. We'll download something else. I'm going to hit OK. Now it asks if you want to paste the selected image onto the work area. What that does is put a background image of your JPEG or whatever design file type you downloaded onto the background. And it's kind of irritating because you cannot move it. You cannot change the size. It just hangs out in the background. I usually click no. I'm going to show you guys with a yes of what that looks like. And then I'll delete and start over to show you guys some of the editing. There it goes. So now if I move this, see how that's in the background? So even if I change the size of this, I find that background image to be distracting. So I'm just going to click undo. Oh, it's still there. It's not even going to let me to remove it. All right, we're just going to start a new project. Leave page. So once that image is there, it's like, it's a part of it. So I don't like to have the image as a background. So I'm going to reopen this, leave it on outline, hit OK, and then we're going to click no this time. And then we'll have our fancy little leaf on there as soon as it loads. There it goes. So this leaf, I can come up here, I can rotate this if I wanted to, but I can do some fun things with it. If I can click right on my keyboard, I can. So one thing we can do is I could just take this image as is, download it to my ScanNCut, and just cut it out. You know, no real changes. But I could also double click on it, and I can actually change some of the points here. I'm going to zoom in. Now, let's say we want this one to be a little bit more pointy. Oops, and I got it too fast. There we go. So I got to make sure my pointer is clicked off when you double click. If you double click with that on, it does some weird stuff. But I can actually move some of these Bezier points on here and actually change my pattern. I can go to straight to a curve, and I can really alter this. So it would help if I'm so used to using Floriani, I keep trying to right click on the dots. But this is a way that you can alter your patterns. You can't really delete points and do things like that. You don't have as much control as you may with some other programs out there, but it certainly gives you a lot of options for how your shape is. All right, so we're going to double click on our magnifying glass here to get out. And the other thing we can do, you know, make sure to think outside the box. Let's go into our logos and see if we can find something really cool to put in the middle of this. Was there an autumn one? Yes, there's autumn. So I'm going to take autumn. I'm going to rotate this a little bit. I'm going to make it smaller. And as you can see, those little corner dots are how we make something bigger or smaller. Oops. And we can also stretch this out if I wanted to a little bit, or make it a little wider this way. What I'm going to do is select both of these. And I'm going to go into that edit key or right click, either way. And I am going to, let's see if I can do a remove overlap. Haha. So I just did a remove overlap. And what that did is it actually made this autumn a part of the design. So it's actually going to cut the leaf out and then the autumn out of it. So let's see if I can make this dark so you guys can see. I'm going to turn this leaf to black so you can see what it looks like. By the way, this is your properties box. So if you right click on something and click properties, you can actually manually change the size here if you'd like. You can change the degree. You can also change the color and change it to a cutting line or a drawing line. You can also add in this is where the dash patterns are. A dash pattern. So if you need a line to be put in there, so you can turn it into a perforated fold. But this is where you would change it to a drawing line if you wanted to draw with. And when you put it into your ScanNCut, it would not cut that line, only draw. So some cool things with the properties. But as you can see, it's going to cut autumn out of there. So I can do this out of paper or vinyl, and I can really combine some of the built-in shapes and ones I find online to make some really cool stuff. All right, let's go back into our image tracing. Excuse me. We're going to go into this leaf thing, but this time I'm going to click, let's do a jack-o'-lantern. And we're going to do a jack-o'-lantern. So the reason why I want to do one of these is because I'm just going to click on one of them. It doesn't really matter which. We'll just do this one. And we're just going to save it. This has inside, oh gosh, I hate that they download as index. All right, let me change the name of this one. We'll just name it pumpkin. So the reason why I wanted to do an image like this is because it has shapes inside and outside. So if we do an image trace where we just do outline, it's just going to do the outside of the pumpkin. And I'm going to show you guys the difference. We're going to go into our image tracing, do normal tracing, choose a file, and choose our pumpkin. I'm going to leave it on outline to show you guys what it looks like. There it goes. Hit OK, hit no to that background image. And as you notice, it is just the outline of the pumpkin. There's no inside. So if I want both to come in, I need to go back to my image tracing, normal tracing. The file's still there, but I want to hit color. and then hit OK. And now when I load it in, whoops, it also did double cuts. This is something also to keep in mind. I'm going to delete this big pumpkin. Sometimes it does double lines depending on how thick the trace is, and you may need to remove those. There we go. But now we have this cute kind of disgruntled looking pumpkin on our page. So if you wanted something that has inside and outside shapes, that's how you would trace it. Now to show you quickly on the enhanced image tracing, we're just going to use, I'm going to use this as an example. This is a shirt that somebody wants me to design something similar for them. So if I wanted to trace around in a photograph, I can't just sit there easily. I'm going to hit close. I can't just sit here easily and you know, do a regular image trace. I want to trace around this skeleton thing. And I'm just going to go around the ribs. It's still not perfect. I find the image tracing, enhanced image tracing, to be, you know, it's still a little glitchy if there's other things that are in that image that take away. And I can hit plus to zoom in. I can hit undo. I'm going to go to the next part. Come on. If it lets me. Maybe I'll hit preview and see what that looks like, and maybe then it'll let me hit next. I don't use the enhanced tracing that often because I just, yeah, oh look, it actually did select some of it. So you do have to hit preview. That's going to show you. I'm going to hit next. And then we can also go in here and edit this a little further where we can, you know, draw lines and add in and things like that. Personally, I would rather sit and trace around this as a background image or try to redraw it and scan it in than try to draw it on the computer. I'm not a big fan of trying to use my mouse to draw around something. But this is kind of basically how this works. Yeah, I'm doing this really bad. I'll just hit preview and see what happens. But I can go in there, I can use a finer pen, I can erase, all these keys are in here, and I can hit OK when I'm done. Again, it asks about the background image. I'm going to hit no. I'm not even sure what it's going to really put on there at this point. Oh, this little blob. That's good. Because that's what I traced. But you need to go in and trace around your image, but this is more for photographs and things that are really complicated that you would like to turn into a ScanNCut file. You can sit and trace around it. It is time consuming, which is why I'm not going into extreme detail and letting you guys sit and watch me trace something, because I would be sitting there for a good 45 minutes trying to get it nice. All right, so next button is our SVG button here. So this is if you have, let's say, downloaded an SVG file, which we're going to go over where to get those in a moment. So I luckily have a whole bunch on my computer. We're going to use this one. All you need is love. So I've been designing some SVG files, and I have them, oops, these do not come in grouped, but I have them up on Etsy. They're ones that I've, you know, designed for people, and you can download them, you know, for free off of websites and things like that. But SVG files, FCM, and the other file type, which was DXF, I couldn't remember what that third type was. These are very easy to find. But as you can see, SVG files, because they're a vector graphic file, it doesn't come in grouped. It comes in with each part that's not touching individual. So if I was going to open up a more complicated one with different colors, it'll still open up with those colors. I'm trying to find another one that's a little bit better to, this is one. This one's a cute one. So there we go. So this one has lots of colors in there. So if I clicked on the C, it clicks on the individual items. So when you do bring in an SVG file, same idea as if you opened it up on your machine, you will need to either hit edit, select all, and then edit group, or you can left click and drag and right click and group. either way. And now I can take this and make it smaller, you know, larger, whatever I'd like to do to it. But that's if you wanted to keep it together. Maybe I don't. Maybe I want to come down in here. Oops, a little too much. There we go. Maybe I want to take this background heart and apply the rhinestone wizard. I could do that. Of course, it's going to overlap my letters now, so maybe I want to move this over, but I could do that. I could do the same thing with this. I can take it, do that rhinestone wizard. Oh, I did that to a letter accidentally instead of the background heart. There we go. Let's try that again. So you can take SVG files, even the free ones that you find, and really, you know, play with this and move them around and kind of make them your own. And again, rotating is if you hover over that little green button, I can rotate this. I can go under edit and mirror it. So you can do some really fun things with this. So places to get SVG files. Usually we go over these sort of things in a ScanNCut class, and I usually give you guys a big list. Oop, my box keeps popping up with the Zoom class when I try to click up here. All right, so some of the best places that I like to go to, Etsy is a great one if you want to purchase them. svgcuts.com is another one. This has more paper cuts. Oh my gosh, that's cute. These are more for paper. However, a lot of these designs do work for fabric. The avocado card, that's just funny. So there's a lot of beautiful designs on here, but if you go under free designs and you scroll down, some of these again are for paper, but a lot of them you can use for fabric. Like this one you could use as vinyl and put it on a Halloween quilt. And there's just a bunch of designs on here. So SVG Cuts is one of the first ones here. If you scroll way back, it does go into more of your simpler designs that are better for fabric. A lot of the newer ones they've put up are more paper specific. But this is SVG Cuts. Another one that's really great is 3dsvg.com. Again, they're more paper related. But they give you little free gifts that you can just download. I want to see what this free gift is. That's really cute. So again, more paper. So this one, there's not many for regular fabric, but there's a lot of paper options. Another one, Burton Avenue. This one actually has a lot of free designs. If we go under free SVG files and go under limited time, I find that these are easier to download and see. And these are all ones that they're more made for vinyl, but these are all free. So let's say, we'll scroll up and do one of the Hello Fall. If I want to download one of these, somewhere is the download button. A lot of these websites that give you the free designs do this where they have a lot of pop-ups and a lot of things here. This is the download button. Yes. So you might have to scroll past quite a bit, but there's our Hello Fall. I can hit OK. It downloaded. I just have to extract all documents. Sure, we'll leave it in documents. Why not? All right, I'm going to exit out of this, go back into ScanNCut, and I'm going to hit that SVG button, choose File. This time it's in Documents. Somewhere. There's Hello Fall with Leaves. And there is our SVG file. So I can open that up, hit OK, and open it up. There it goes. So now I can wirelessly send this right to my ScanNCut if I want. I could take these leaves here and I could turn them into rhinestones or something else if I wanted to. That really doesn't look good as rhinestones. So maybe let's not do that. Oops, I can even delete the leaves out of there by hitting delete on my keyboard. I can hit undo. Oops, redo, too far. So SVG files are all over the place. They stand for Scalable Vector Graphic, and the difference between these and regular images is if I scroll way in, it doesn't get blurry on any of the edges. All vector files are like this, so they can be made at any size. It's pretty cool how they work. Well, regular JPEG, if you scan in, it's going to be blurry. So that's the big differences. Now, some other keys here on our keys up here. Your regular selection key is there. That's what we've been using. After that is your path. So it's the same idea as double clicking. So if I have, actually, I lied. Oops. This one is to draw a path. So let's say I want to do, I don't know, a heart. I can double click, and there's my beautiful heart. I can also draw with a regular freehand path, which I find to be a little bit easier. Wow, that's really bad. So maybe because it's easier, it's not necessarily better looking, but there's that as well. So if you wanted to trace around something, you could do that with the path option. This is more for freehand. I have some real trouble trying to draw with a touchpad. These are your redo and undo. I've been using them frequently. And those who are Floriani users, you can always quote Kathy Quinn there with the undo is your friend. I can also click on something and delete it. This here is the properties. So not only can I click on something, right click and get to properties, but I can also click on something and click the properties box here. And it's going to show me, again, all the little details. Now, if I click drawing line and then exit out of this, it's going to turn this into a drawing line. You can't see that it's different, but the HE double hockey sticks here is the only thing that's selected. The O is not connected to it. So it's just these 4 letters, and that would only draw it. So if you're having troubles where you have it in ScanNCut Canvas, you load it into your machine and it's not cutting out parts of it, check your properties and make sure it's not set as a drawing line. Your zoom, you can zoom in a little bit more here or zoom out. This will be a different number depending on your screen resolution. Okay, so I think we've gone over most of everything that's here. One thing too, if you notice, I'm clicking on stuff and it's showing me different measurements on the bottom left. That's because it's showing you the measurement of exactly what you have selected. So if you wanted the measurement for the whole thing, I'd have to select the whole thing. But as you can see, it doesn't pop up. So I can always just right click and hit properties, and it's not showing me that either. Well, that's annoying. I have to group it first. We can group, and then it'll show me the measurements down there. And of course, you can always ungroup as needed. Okay, so what I want to show you guys now, unless there's any questions on the online version of Canvas, but I wanted to show you guys the downloaded version of Canvas. So I'm going to give you guys a moment to, as I'm installing this, to think of any questions on the online version. No questions? Are you guys awake out there? Because I can't actually see anybody at the moment. All right, should be launching now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing, and I have to share. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and then I have to go back in and share a different screen. And I got to log in, so just give me one moment to log in. Hopefully I remember my password. Or not. Give me one moment. So one thing too, with our login, it actually keeps you logged in for 7 days. So if you don't touch your PC version, oh, I know why I'm messing up. I'm putting my whole email in there. There we go. All right, so as soon as this starts up, I can do another screen share. Give me one moment. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're going to do another screen share now, and this time into the computer canvas. Okay, so when you, I'm not sure if it's showing you the pop-up screen that shows all the Canvas projects. Is it showing that Yeah. So when you first open up your PC version of Canvas, it opens up all the Canvas projects just like on your regular online one. You can also access the pattern collection and the Disney collection. Of course, they want you to see all the cool patterns that you can purchase, right? But all these pattern collections are here, so you can also use it that way. If you're not connected to the internet, that may not show up as easily. All right, let me minimize Zoom here again. Okay, so here it's very similar to the online version. You have your mat in the middle, but there are some subtle differences, like where everything is. It automatically opens up your basic shapes, and instead of words, it shows little icons. So you have your shapes, borders, words instead of logos, that's what they call it. What's the matter, Hunter? Okay. Rhinestone stamps, anything that you've downloaded, again, is here. And those other ones that show you just on the PC version, like your roll feeder, are on here if you unlocked your roll feeder, which I have. It gives you this one singular exciting design to try. If you have the Disney ScanNCut, the 230 DX, there's actually a bunch of extra patterns in there that you can do under the Disney. So if you go to your roll feeder button on your ScanNCut, there's a bunch more. But that's only on the Disney ScanNCut. Otherwise, you get one to try, but you can always make your own. Now, over on the left-hand side, you have your different, Canvas project pattern collection shapes.
Elsie.
Yes.
All we see is your Canvas pattern Disney page. We can't see your screen.
Oh, darn. All right, give me a second. Oh, yeah, it just said that it like malfunctioned. Okay, hold on. Let's try this again.
Just that you're giving us so much information, it's kind of overwhelming.
I'm sorry.
Don't know where to start.
Well, the nice thing is, again, since we are recording, you guys can always watch this again. So that way, when we're done with the class and you're sitting there, drinking a cup of tea going, oh God, what just happened? You can watch this again.
Exactly. Okay.
It's the nice thing about the recording. So what I was showing you guys that apparently Zoom decided it didn't want to show you is all these little categories on the left here. There's your shapes, borders, the same exact sort of categories that are on your online version, but at the bottom I have my roll feed bundle. So if you have something that is only the Canvas PC version, a lot of those pop up here. To the left of that, you have the same sort of buttons that are available on your the top part of the online. So it shows your project and pattern collection, the shapes tool, which we're in here. If I click text, I actually have the option here of, this is all of my true type fonts. So this is a cool thing with the PC version. I can actually use all of my true type fonts that are in my computer. And I can change the font here. So these are all ones that I have downloaded at some point. Actually, no, these are the Canvas Workspace. I apologize. There's actually another button for true types, but these are the Canvas Workspace fonts. There's actually a ton more built in. As you can see, there's a ton of them. There's the all fonts. So the top half is special Canvas Workspace. If you scroll down to all fonts, which I thought I was in, these are the ones that you downloaded onto your computer. Now, why this is important is because you can pretty much make any font possible, because you can go to places like DaFont or 1001freefonts.com and download any custom font and easily type it into your Canvas. So you could have, I don't know, Art Deco fonts, Halloween, creepy, drippy looking fonts, whatever you want to do, you can find and turn that into fonts. And then again, just like in our regular Canvas, I can come in here, I can edit, let's see where the buttons are. Layer, no. Wait, I just saw the ungroup. It's not gonna let me. I gotta remember where all the buttons are. I don't use this one as much. Here we are. My Zoom is blocking half my screen. So on the right-hand side, we have our properties. Then below that, you have your edit. And this is where I can go in here and I can divide these. And then I can drag each of these to overlap again. So if I wanted to do a weld, and it's the same thing, I could even do like a little bit of an angle if I wanted to. Get this to move. That H is a little too dramatic, I think. And then I can, once again, select all of these and weld them together. So you can do some really interesting things with fonts that you can have downloaded on your computer. I've always liked being able to use custom fonts rather than, you know, the 10 or whatever they give you on the ScanNCut. That's just not enough for me. I want unlimited. So that's what you can do with text. Now the SVG, again, this is just opening up an SVG file, just like we did before. That's your image tracing, which if you have your advanced image tracing, that will also download with this. Same thing, drawing a path, the freehand path as well, and placing a rhinestone. Those are all exactly the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load in, let's do a stamp shape. We'll do that one. All right, and oops. Just clicking wrong buttons. All right, so I have my cute little feather here. I'm going to go into the T, so that brings this more full screen. Go back into select. There we go. So under my properties, this is the same exact thing as if we right-clicked and hit properties, but it's now a permanent part of your canvas. So it's more similar to that of your like Illustrator and programs like that. So here, if I click fill, I actually have this whole gradient box and I can pick numerous colors. So if I'm designing with multiple different shapes, you know, maybe I want to take this, I'm going to go back to my edit and I want to, where's my copy and paste? Copy and paste, I have two. I can now come in here and I can even do the same thing up here on the top and turn this into another color and just have a bunch of these. And I can have a bunch of feathers. So if you're doing overlap designs and kind of laying out, let's say you're doing vinyl and I'm having 3 feathers overlapped with lettering. Now, if you're cutting this, you're not going to have them overlapped like this, but this gives you the ability to lay it out. I can also, a big hint, if you hit Control C and Control V, this is another way to copy paste using your keyboard. Let's do another color. Let's do purple. So Control C will copy, Control V will paste. So another shortcut, you can use those keyboard shortcuts on this program as well. But let's say we're doing these, you can layer them together and change their colors and really figure out your design on here before cutting it. And then when you go to cut it, you can separate it, not a big deal. But this allows you to kind of design a little bit easier. Now, if you wanted to too, we can arrange these differently. You know, maybe we want them all aligned evenly. And you can also hit Control Z to hit undo. So I can use the array. Distribute actually spaces these in different ways. So it distributes them a little bit more evenly. And of course, you can still weld. And now this is all together and we'll cut as one, which actually looks kind of cool. So the edit buttons are pretty much about the same. You do have some more functions with this distribute, that is new, but you do have to have multiple items selected, and I can change this of how it spaces out those objects. Text, let me throw some text on here because there's some added. I can do some more editing on my text. I can actually hit this convert to shapes, which did not actually really do anything. There we go. So let me divide this. Pretty much your text is a shape, so I don't know. I didn't see what that really did, but hold on, I gotta move my zoom box. Come on. There we go. So some other features on here, I'm gonna select this. Offset is again that offset line which will trace around it. This is a new thing, this weeding box, and your ScanNCut actually had an update as of I think a week or so ago if you have one of the DXs, and this weeding box is also a new edit feature on your ScanNCut. So what that does is it puts a box around your cutouts. So that way when you're weeding, you can just grab the corner and pull this all off. So that way you don't have to sit there with the edge of, you know, your vinyl trying to work it. And it also saves you some vinyl. So if I hit OK, it just adds this box around my design. And I have used this. It is very helpful when doing lots of small vinyls and detailed vinyls. So I really suggest finding that. On your ScanNCut, when you go to actually cut, you hit the cut and you can go scroll down to where the half cut is. It's actually a function right below that. The weeding box is new after you update your ScanNCut. Okay, so ironically, the store is calling me. Give me 1 second. I'm in the middle of a Zoom class. What's up? Tell her no. Okay, bye. Sorry, I thought that was related to the class. Someone wanted to, I guess, embroider on a feather down jacket that was 3 inches thick, and I just said no. Okay, so what we can also do on here, again, you'll notice some of these other functions like the rhinestone. It's the same idea as the online. It's only here if you purchase the rhinestone set. Below that is layers. So this is nicer than what the online version, because it actually shows you these layers. So let's say you wanted to edit just this blue feather here. You could actually click on the red one and hit this little eyeball, which means it disappears temporarily, and the purple. And now you can edit just that blue one. You want it to come back, you can always click right back on it. You can change this from a cut to a draw just by clicking right on each individual layer. And you can also change the group. So this is grouped at the moment, so I can't really make any edits to it, but I can close this whole section if I wanted to just look at these guys. So it's similar to the way that Floriani and some of those worked. I can duplicate and copy and also delete things here. The other thing I can do is left click on one of these and drag it into a different space. So I actually just drag this right into the group. I can move the order and actually add them to groups if I wanted to. So this just changed the order of how it cuts. The nice thing is that the layers on this actually show you the order for the most part that it's going to be cutting out in if it has lots of little shapes. Where otherwise when you put it in your ScanNCut, you never know what order it's really going to cut in. So this actually shows you. Over here is your artboard. So this is pretty much your background. Again, I can do a 12 by 12 or 12 by 24. This is where you'd access your rolled material. So this is where I could take this and I could make this really long and cut this out on my roll feed bundle. So let's hit undo. So that's where that is. And as you can see, the width is still 12 inches. And you can take this from 36 inches and even make it longer. I don't think I've actually done anything longer than the 36 inches yet. Just because I don't think I have anything longer than 36 inches I can easily do unless I want to do a wall. But that's how you would change that here if you have a very long thing you want to do. We can also change this between portrait and landscape. So if you have a design that goes this way, like actually, I think I can, let's see if I can find the design that I had just to show you. Yes, I do have it. All right, let me change this back to portrait. But this is the flames that I cut out on my car. So they're right there. They're not grouped. I could group them if I want to. It doesn't matter. But they're not even 5 feet. They're probably, or 3 feet. I don't know how long they are. I can go into properties and check. Oh, that's right. I have to group it. Hold on. Let's group this. Of course, I clicked out. Hold on. There. Group. Now I can check. So it's a little over 25 inches long. And even that was pretty big. And this shows, of course, in my layers, the grouping. But this is where you get to the roll feed bundle, bleh, if you need to use that. You can also change inches. The ruler button here you can show, and this shows the ruler along the side. I still have problems eyeballing, you know, if I drew a line from this to this, sure, that's, you know, 3 inches, but I don't know, I can't do that easily. There is also a way to show mat image, show a grid or not on your mat. And there's also a snap to grid if you're drawing. What that means is as you're drawing, it will automatically snap to the grid lines. You can also change your grid spacing. The spacing on the mat is 1 inch, so it's nice to leave it like that, but you can always change that if you want. I, of course, can fill in my flames. I did them in blue, so you can kind of see what they look like. Here is your actual line color, so I could have a different color for the outside edge if I wanted to. It's hard to tell. Let me turn that off, and you can see that this is purple. So this is my line color. I'll change that back to black. Okay, some of the buttons up here. We have our file, which is where you would export or transfer an FCM file. You can import from your computer or from your cutting machine. So there's 2 buttons that pop up from the cutting file or cutting machine. There's an FCM file, which is your cutting machine file, or a scanned image. So if you went to scanning on your ScanNCut and hit scan an image instead of, you know, cut to file or file, yeah, scan to cut file, and then there's an image scan, it actually scans that as a JPEG. So you could use this machine to even scan in your taxes if you really needed to, and open up the scanned image that way. We can export or transfer. So what that means is I can export this to a file. I can transfer it via the internet to my ScanNCut, or transfer it through a USB cable. Now, if you have the DX, I believe that there is no way to actually plug in a USB cable anymore. I think they took that away. Let me just check. Mine has the slot, but I know on some of the machines, I've heard that it doesn't really do it anymore. I think the ScanNCut you can, but maybe it's the new Luminaires that you can't. But you can transfer a file from this machine, from my computer, to my ScanNCut in multiple different ways. I can also quit the program, which we don't want to do. Under Edit, there's a lot of the same copy, paste, select all, line operations. I don't have anything selected, so let me go into here. Line operation is where you change it between cut and draw. I can resize, flip. These are a lot of the same edit buttons that pop up in the same right-hand category over here on your program. So they give you the same options in multiple different places. Your display is your zoom. So it's the same thing that we just went through, showing the grid, hiding the grid, hiding the ruler, what units to use, things like that. I can also use this to zoom in if I wanted to, instead of using this little zoom function here. Premium is, again, if you get to any of the specialty things that you need to do something else with, like the printable stickers, is something you have to open up as an outside thing. And that'll open up all this, so it's a little bit easier. And then this allows you to print. You can save it as a PDF file. It's actually a lot easier to use the printable sticker program from the PC version than the online. The PC, the online one, you have to open up that sticker file, and then you have to export it as a PDF, or you can just do that right from the same screen instead of popping around. Help, again, there's a quick start guide, there's video tutorials, online help for premium. This help page on this is really nice. There's also a way to get to your account settings, checking for a Canvas workspace update, or my favorite, checking for the latest ScanNCut update. So let's say you didn't realize that you changed your internet password and you forgot to update it on all of our sewing machines, because that's something you have to do now. You know, I have to update my ScanNCut, my Luminaire, all my computers, my kids' computers now, my cell phone. I mean, gosh, there's a lot if you get a new internet provider, or, you know, change your password. So maybe your ScanNCut hasn't been updated in a while and you're curious. You can just click this right here. It'll bring you right to the ScanNCut's website. You click on your model, and then it'll let you know if you need an update or not. So this is really, really handy, I feel. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything I have not gone over on this. So the class was supposed to be about an hour and a half. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. So I feel like we have gone over everything. In fact, maybe a little bit more. Is everyone still alive? No one's fallen asleep on me this class? I only had that happen once so far with these. All right, so I'm going to stop recording and then I'm going to open this up for questions. And so feel free to ask away.